Our story begins with three close friends, Hanna, Millie, and Cal. Millie have developed a crush on their teacher James and decides to act on her feelings by slipping a love letter into his mailbox. The next day, the letter is gone. The three friends realize that James must have read it. Nervous about his response, Millie asks Hanna to approach their teacher and find out what he thinks. Hanna gathers her courage and goes to James. She asks if he received and read the letter. James looks at her curiously and asks if she wrote it. When Hanna explains that Millie was the author, James shakes his head and mentions that the letter contained many grammatical errors. When Hanna reports this back to Millie, her friend is crushed. Millie says sadly that he has no heart and that she doesn't love him anymore. Just like that, her crush disappears completely. The following day during class, the students next door is being extremely loud and disruptive. Their noise is coming from James's classroom, where the teacher has actually fallen asleep at his desk. Seeing this, Hanna drops her book from the upper floor to wake him up. James startles awake, and Hanna calls down to him that he is late for his class. He quickly hurries off to teach his students. After class ends, James finds Hanna and tells her that she had thrown the book at him earlier and it had hurt. But thanks to her, he made it to class on time. He smiles gratefully before walking away. Later that afternoon, as Hanna walks home, she notices someone following her. Earlier that day, their teacher had warned the class about a man who had been abducting girls in the city. Fear grips her heart, and she begins to run. In her panic, Hanna stumbles and falls hard onto the road. Just then, a car pulls up beside her. To her relief, it's James behind the wheel. She rushes to him, feeling safe at last. The man who had been following her jogs past them. He was simply out for his evening run, not the dangerous person she had feared. But Hanna's fall has left her injured, so James drives her to the hospital and buys her strawberry milk while they wait. After some time, Hanna's parents arrive to take her home. But something has changed for Hanna. For the first time in her life, she finds herself developing feelings for someone, her teacher James. The next day at school, Hanna sits with Millie and sadly confides in her, asking what the point was of loving a teacher who would never love them back. Her words make Millie start crying, reminded of her own recent heartbreak. As Hanna tries to comfort her friend, James notices the commotion. He tells Hanna sternly that she will need to stay after school that day to complete her homework there. When school ends, all the other students leave, but Hanna remains behind working on her assignments. James finds her still there and asks why she hasn't gone home yet. She replies that he had told her to finish her homework at school and that she would leave once she was done. James feels sorry for her and decides to help. After she completes her work, he offers to drive her home. As they walk to his car, Hanna's phone buzzes with a message from Miss Sarah, the English teacher, asking to meet tomorrow. The next day, Hanna and Cal secretly follow James to see where he's going. They hide and watch as Miss Sarah approaches James with a confession of her feelings. But James gently turns her down, saying he needs to focus on his work right now. Cal becomes furious watching this scene. He has his own crush on Miss Sarah and wants to confront James, but Hanna stops him. In that moment, Cal realizes that Hanna has feelings for James too. When Millie learns about Hanna's crush, she's surprisingly supportive. Despite her own past feelings for James, she wants to help her friend. Encouraged by her friends, Hanna decides to be brave. She runs to James and confesses her feelings openly, but James shakes his head kindly. He tells Hanna that it isn't good for her and that she should focus on her studies. Hanna then asks desperately if he would consider her feelings if she scored more than 90 marks in his subject. Caught off guard, James responds without thinking, saying that it was impossible since she had only scored 57 marks the last time. Hanna accepts this as a challenge and walks away with determination. James immediately regrets his words, realizing he may have made a mistake, but the deal has been made. From that day forward, Hanna throws herself into studying. She studies everywhere, at home, at school, even on the stairs. One day, while rushing down the staircase with her books, she accidentally bumps into James. His glasses shatter on the floor. Unable to see clearly without his glasses, James struggles to get around. Hanna offers to help him get home safely. As they reach his house, she's surprised to discover that Ms. Sarah lives next door. She's James's neighbor. Ms. Sarah sees them together and immediately senses something between them. The next day after class, she approaches Hanna while James sits downstairs, unaware of their conversation. Ms. Sarah warns gently that James is a good person who treats everyone kindly, and she advises Hanna not to mistake his kindness for something more. Hanna leaves without responding, but Cal, who has been watching, confronts Ms. Sarah. He accuses her of saying that because she likes James herself. When she denies it, Cal points out the tears in her eyes and then confesses his own feelings for her. Ms. Sarah sadly tells him that he is too young to understand what love really is. Time passes, and their high school days continue. One day, Hanna playfully covers James's eyes from behind. But instead of playing along, James turns to face her seriously and tells her not to waste her time on him, reminding her that she has a different life ahead and should focus on her studies and prepare for her future after high school. His rejection cuts deep, and Hanna walks away with a broken heart. Hanna spends the rest of the day crying. When Millie and Cal find out what happened, they're both furious. They march straight to James and confront him. Millie says angrily that he shouldn't have rejected Hanna so harshly, telling him that he broke her heart and that she is devastated. That night, feeling lost and hurt, Hanna does something completely out of character. She goes to a nightclub with some friends, even though she's never been to one before. Her broken heart has left her confused and reckless. At the club, a boy tries to approach her, but Hanna wants nothing to do with him. She leaves immediately, stepping out into the rain. As she walks slowly toward home, her heart heavy with sadness, two men on the street begin to harass her. Just then, James appears. He quickly intervenes and drives Hanna home safely. When exam results are finally announced, Hanna discovers she scored 97 marks in history, well above the 90 she had promised to achieve. She had won their bet, but now the victory feels meaningless. James had already rejected her, making their deal irrelevant. One day while practicing archery, a fellow archer who knows her story approaches Hanna. He tells her gently that he knows she loves her teacher and advises her to tell him exactly how she feels without holding anything back. His words give Hanna new courage. The next day, there's a big school function where students are supposed to wear formal attire. Hanna puts on a white dress and runs to the roof of the school building, where she knows James will be. She finds him there and pours her heart out, admitting that she doesn't fully understand the feelings she has for him, but promising that she will always love him. Something in James's heart shifts. All his professional walls crumble as he realizes his own feelings for her. He pulls her into his arms and kisses her, and in that moment, they become more than teacher and student. But their happiness is short-lived. The next day at school, Hanna realizes that everyone is staring at her and whispering. Someone had photographed their kiss on the rooftop, and now the picture is circulating throughout the school. A parent-teacher meeting is called, and James is summoned to answer for his actions. Hanna and Cal listen anxiously from outside the meeting room, as James faces the angry parents and administrators. The next day, James asks Hanna to meet him privately. Her heart sinks as she notices the serious expression on his face. He tells her coldly that what happened the previous day was just a momentary lapse, that he got caught up in his emotions, and that it didn't mean anything. His words are like a knife to her heart. He's essentially telling her that he doesn't love her after all. Heartbroken once again, Hanna flees from the school. She ends up at the railway station, tears streaming down her face, when her phone rings. It's her archer friend, the same one who had encouraged her to confess her feelings to James. Now, he's coming to meet her, seeing that she needs support. When he arrives, he tries to comfort her, telling her gently that he knows there is a lot of talk about her at school, but that she shouldn't worry because everything will settle down soon. He suggests that she consider dating someone her own age. Then, gathering his courage, he admits that he loves her. This boy actually attends a neighboring school, which is how he knows about her situation without being directly involved in the drama. Meanwhile, back at school, Millie and Cal are dealing with their own consequences. Cal has been suspended because of his involvement in confronting the teachers, and James is being transferred to a school in another city. He's leaving town entirely. Cal is furious about this turn of events. He storms over to James's house and confronts him directly. Cal says angrily that what he did to Hanna was completely wrong. He reminds him that in the meeting, he had said he took full responsibility for everything and that he never wanted to hurt her, but accuses him of lying because he did hurt her, and now she is suffering because of him. James tries to dismiss him. "You don't understand these things, Cal. You're still very young." This response makes Cal even angrier, and he exclaims that although they may be young, at least they are willing to take a stand for what they believe in, while James, the adult, is only running away. His words hit deeper than James expects, partly because Cal is speaking from his own pain. His English teacher had said the exact same thing to him about being too young to understand love. James suddenly realizes the weight of his mistakes. Meanwhile, Millie finds out that James is leaving the city forever, and immediately goes to find Hanna. She tells her friend that James is leaving for good, and that she should go see him. Hanna has almost given up hope, even though she still loves him deeply, but Millie insists that James loves her too, and that she should meet him one last time. Determined not to miss this final chance, Hanna gets on her bicycle and races to find James. She falls along the way, but doesn't care about her scraped knees. All that matters is reaching him. James is waiting for her, hoping she'll come. When Hanna sees him, her face lights up with joy. She runs to him and throws her arms around him, and in that embrace, they both acknowledge the love they've been fighting. James says sadly that it isn't the right time for them, and that Hanna needs to finish her education first, after which they could think about being together properly. He then adds painfully that if she finds someone else she cares about during that time, someone more suitable, he would understand. Yet, as he says these words, tears well up in his eyes because he realizes he doesn't want to lose her to anyone else. Time moves forward, and eventually Hanna graduates. She's now free to make her own choices about relationships, without the complications of being a student. During this time, her friends have moved on too. Millie has found love with someone new, while Cal, stubborn as ever, still harbors feelings for Ms. Sarah and continues trying to win her over. One day, Hanna decides to visit her old school one final time. She walks through the hallways where she spent so many years, where she first fell in love with James, where she and her friends created so many memories. As she steps outside the school building, lost in nostalgia, she's surprised to see a familiar figure waiting for her. It's James. He looks at her with gentle eyes and asks what she wants. Her answer is simple and heartfelt. She says that she wants to hold his hand. Without hesitation, she reaches out and takes his hand in hers. This time, there are no complications, no rules to break, no consequences to fear. They're both adults now, free to choose their own path. For the first time, they kiss not as teacher and student caught up in forbidden feelings, but as two people who have found their way back to each other. It's a kiss that represents a new beginning, one built on patience, growth, and genuine love that has withstood the test of time. And with that tender moment, their story finds its happy ending.